Hey there, Michael Kuhlman here. It's a rainy day here in Altamont Springs, Florida. Um, Thanks for clicking on the video. The clip you're about to watch is part of actually like an hour and 40 long minute video that I kind of put together where I reviewed a bunch of other books and authors, the books off my shelf. So if you're interested in this clip, check out that larger video. Thank you for clicking on the video. All right, let's go with a little bit something more visual, more philosophy. V for Vendetta. This is Alan Moore. So Alan Moore is awesome. He is one of my favorite authors ever. He did this. He did Watchmen, which I've got up here too. I could do a whole video on just V for Vendetta or Watchmen. He did Swamp Thing. What else did he do? Oh, The Killing Joke. Talk about that in a minute. V for Vendetta, very philosophical. Talks about anarchy. You've seen the movie. If you haven't, go see it. Book is like the movie plus. Like, if you've seen the movie and you like the movie, definitely read this graphic novel. I was actually assigned this by a pretty like hippie teacher. She was good. She was awesome, but she was kind of like, I mean, who assigns V for Vendetta as like a high school English class? This lady did, and we all kind of liked it. At least I did, because it was, first of all, it's a graphic novel, which is cool. That's kind of what got me into graphic novels. I mean, I was reading Watchmen before that, and I love Sin City. I've actually got the big damn book of Sin City, which is like what it's called. I'll grab it and I'll show it to you guys. So this thing is huge. Here, we'll show you. Here's that Frankenstein book. So there you go. So this is all the comic books from Sin City. And I mean, this is awesome. I didn't want to show this necessarily and talk about it because I am 75% done with it. So I haven't read the whole thing. And what I want to show you guys is only stuff that I've read like fully. So oh, you know what? My bad. Alan Moore didn't write that. That's Frank Miller. Whoops. Anyway. Yeah, I know all my stuff. What am I looking at? Oh. V for Vendetta takes place in England in a future that's not too far off. Like another, like, written in the 80s, takes place in 2019 type of deal going on. And it's about anarchy and the philosophy of when is it right to stand up against your government, and talks about totalitarianism and what's the meaning of I mean, it's English history, and so you get a little bit of a insight into the Guy Fawkes, who The Mask is based on, that 4chan mask that everyone has seen that represents protest. That guy is famous in the 1500s because he tried to set up a bomb on Parliament, and that's interesting. I think it was a failed attempt, and he was hanged, and that's kind of cool. So this is the modern day version of that, and it's a really dystopian, futuristic. I guess it's not super dystopian because it's kind of modern day a little bit. Very interesting, very good character development. I just love that he adds so many layers onto his book, and he's pretty meta with it. So like, there's certain chapters, a lot of them have V's as in the background they'll put a V, or if there's a room number on there, it's room number 5, which is V in Roman numerals. And each chapter is the Vanishing. This is chapter 9. Each chapter starts with the letter V, and so victorious, vigilance, all that stuff. So great novel. If you guys have never read an Alan Moore, Chapter 6, The Vision, highly recommend it. Great artwork. The artwork for Watchmen was a little bit better. Dave Gibbons did Watchmen, and David Lloyd did V for Vendetta. But it's really about the writing. It's really about the construction. One day, I'm telling you guys this, one day I'm going to write a graphic novel. I really, really, really want to. And I either want to find an artist that I can, collaborate with, or I want to draw it myself. I've been practicing sketching. But yeah, that's like a life goal. All right, got V for Vendetta out there. All right, The Killing Joke by Alan Moore. I almost feel like I gotta double check. Yeah, Alan Moore. Good artwork. Kind of famous, right? Because the Joker's like a big deal now. They had Heath Ledger and then the most recent Joker in my timeline, which was Joaquin Phoenix, which was an awesome movie. It was like a 5 out of 5 movie. And look at that at the back. So the Joker's just an awesome character. This novel, it's a very, very small book. Very small graphic novel. I read some of the intro, and it talks about how they got Alan Moore to do it, and he didn't want to do it, and they dragged him into it. It's an ending story for the Joker. So he dies at the end, but the novel is kind of interesting. Overall, I didn't like it. Kind of disappointed by it because you hear a lot about it, but I don't know why it's so famous. I mean, it feels like a rushed, short novel, but good artwork as I'm flipping through it. Yeah, I'll reread it again, but nothing that great. Let's keep going. All right, we'll choose this one. The greatest Superman stories ever told. So I don't know where I got this. I think, this was a Christmas present from my parents or something, but it's a bunch of they selected good stories or stories that represented from all the Superman comics going back to I don't know what year, maybe like the 60s or 70s, by the original authors Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Let's see if I can get some context around this, because this is kind of interesting. So, yeah, Superman versus Luthor, originally presented in Superman number 4 in 1940. Holy shit. So this is spanning 80 years. So 80 years ago is when Superman came out. Man, that's just fascinating. That's when the character was created. So this book has certain ones like Superman number 13 from 1941, Superman number 30 from 1944, 1958, 1961, 1972, 1986. Really fascinating. I remember what was really interesting is that, this just has all the original, Lex Luthor, and I read this years ago. Just love these comic books. They have the April Fool's issue. So they said it was the night of March 31. And then they show everybody all the characters going to sleep. And then the implication that they don't say is the next day all this crazy stuff happens. And it's because it's April 1. So it's April Fool's. And you had to figure that out. And you're like, why is all this crazy stuff happening? And that was included in this edition. And then they had, I'm not sure if it was in this issue or another mini issue I had that came with a poster, but it was the death of Superman, and that was really interesting, because like he fights, oh, who did he fight that kills him? It was in the movie. It was in the Zack Snyder movie. I don't know the bad guys. I'm not like read up on my history, but was it this guy, whoever that guy is? If you guys know, and like say it in like the comments, and I'll interact and I'll look it up or whatever. And but anyway, I forgot his name, but he kills Superman, and I don't think it's at the end of this one, but it's at a follow-up that this was with. Like, this came in a package with another smaller issue of the death of Superman. That was really cool, really interesting. So, yeah, we read that one. Watchmen. I could make, as I've already stated, a whole video on this. This is the greatest graphic novel of all time, hands down. The best characters. It's about superheroes. I've not seen the new show on HBO, but I heard it's really good. I saw the movie. I loved the movie. That's actually the best, in my opinion, the best trailer of all time was for the Watchmen movie. You should go look that up. Smashing Pumpkins, I think, did the song for that trailer. What makes Watchmen so great is it's alternate future and really good character development, interesting characters. It goes back into the history. They're superheroes, but there's been a law enacted where superheroes cannot, they're illegal, they're banned, and so all of them have to go into hiding, and some of them retire and give up, and then certain other ones, like there's one, the smartest man in the world, starts his own company, and so he's not really a superhero, but he's trying to run a corporation in that way. And then there's one, Rorschach, who works from the shadows, and he's kind of a like a grungy figure, trying to figure out why people are killing old superheroes. And so he's like, people are like, the book opens up with them killing off the comedian who was a famous superhero in that world. And the whole theme is who watches the Watchmen, like who regulates the people that are supposed to be protecting us. If the people who are protecting us go evil, you know. And so there's a lot to be said about like who polices the police force with nowadays. If the police are corrupt, they're the ones with the power. And it's an alternate history. So they say that, I believe, Nixon in the 70s got reelected. He didn't get impeached, and he, I think, is still president into the 80s, and this takes place in the 80s. And he wrote a law in, and so it's kind of like the corrupt guy stayed in power and is trying to shut down superheroes, and crazy stuff happens, and the book totally delivers. The ending is way better than the movie, and yeah. If you haven't read Watchmen, go read it. It's the best graphic novel ever.